And I'm glad Jason popped in to introduce himself because he's done everything that I'm going to talk about today to the tune of the fact that he works with 50 plus employees to run his various and sundry business interests. And yes, Tiffanie did share that I was the executive director for BNI in the West Central Florida and Tampa franchises, but it was not all me. We created the team of over 50 extraordinary director consultants and trainers that actually ran the organization. And my role was to work on the business, not necessarily in the business. And we're going to help you make that distinction for yourself today with respect to your business as we talk about helping you become more abundant entrepreneurs and creating time for yourself. And the way we're going to create time for ourselves relates to three of my favorite words when it comes to business: leverage, momentum, and residual income. And creating more time for ourselves is all about leverage, So we're going to focus on that today. And the title of today's conversation is Putting the Big Rocks In First. And many of you may have heard this story of a science teacher up in front of the room with a pile of sand and a pile of pebbles and a pile of rocks up on the bench, along with a mason jar. And the teacher invites one of the students to come up and fill the mason jar. And the student begins to put the sand in and then the pebbles in, and then discovers that the big rocks don't fit. And actually, the proper way to fill the mason jar is to put the big rocks in first. Put the big rocks in first, followed by the pebbles, shake them down, and then fill the balance with sand. And then you can put everything in the mason jar, or what I like to say, all of your business activities. But again, the intention is to put the big rocks in first. So for us as business owners, our big rocks are, again, our priorities, our business generating activities. While others work in the business, we work on the business. Jason, are you out there swinging a hammer every day, installing cabinets, or are you doing sales calls and training your team members to execute appropriately?
No, sir. From within 2 weeks of starting the business, I was off the first job, and the first crew was hired to finish the job while I went out and found the next job. And then when I had about 3 or 4 crews running, then I needed somebody to help me manage those crews and support me in sales while I did more marketing and more sales, until I could then hire the first salesman. And then the dominoes start going from there. But no, every time I find myself doing a lot of something, I ask myself, who could be doing this something for me, and what makes it worth their while to want to do it for me? So then I can train them and incentivize them to do it. Doing it.
Remember that statement. Whenever I find myself doing a lot of something, I find somebody else to do that. But why is this important? It's because that's how we're going to maximize our return on investment, or what I like to call our return on relationships in business. I mean, there's only so much each one of us can do on a daily basis. I don't know if any of us feel bogged down in our business. We feel like we're constantly wearing way too many hats. We're unable to focus on the big picture or the vision of our business, or we're just flat out working too much. How do we overcome these challenges? The first step is to draw your company's organizational chart. You're the CEO, you're the president, but you have departments, okay, that are reporting to you. Your marketing department, your accounting department, your bookkeeping department, your human resources department, your finance account department, your operations department. And I know if we're a solopreneur, oh, I forgot, our janitorial department. I'm still trying to figure out who can empty my wastebasket on a weekly basis. But anyways, I know for many of us, our name is in every single one of those boxes. But the point is if you're valuing your time at $100 an hour or $500 an hour, as soon as you can hire somebody to do those, execute those roles and activities, for $20 an hour, $50 an hour, $100 an hour, you're better off hiring that person. And if you come to the breakout, we'll talk about what if you feel like you don't have the money to hire that initial employee or that third or fifth employee. We'll talk about that. So we've got our org chart. Maybe our name is in every single box, okay? What do we do from there? We want to create what I call a life at a flash sheet. Take each one of the boxes on your organizational chart, your marketing box, your accounting box, your finance box, human resources box, and write down every single activity you do within each of those divisions or departments in your company. And note, how much time do I spend on each of those activities on a monthly basis? From there, look at those activities, identify the activities that feed you, you love to do. They bring out the passion in you. The activities that feed you versus the activities that bleed you. What are we going to do? We're going to hire somebody to execute, somebody who has those talents and skills. We want to hire that person to execute the activities that bleed us so that we can stay, as Dr. Meisner talks about, in our flame, in our flame. By the way, if you want to take the advanced course here, once you identify all of those activities within each of your departments that you execute, make note of the processes that you execute in order to accomplish each one of those activities. Because when you hire a team member to execute that activity, you're going to train them, of course, but you're also going to have the documentation already prepared to hand to them so that they can lean on that documentation if you're not around. And by the way, as you're training them and as they're executing the role, you're having them update the company's processes on those activities. So if they ever move on from your company, you always have consistent, up-to-date processes to execute those activities for people that you've hired. Once you've got your org chart laid out, you've got your activities laid out, you've got your processes laid out, and you've hired or subcontracted out an activity associated with your business, know you're going to have to update your BGS, your business generating system, your business generating system. And this is where Tiffanie comes into play. She offers a fantastic course called Ignite Your Business. It's all about how to refine and define your referral-based marketing strategy. Why is this important? Well, you're going to need to be bringing in more revenue, okay, more revenue into your firm in order to keep your team activated, motivated, doing what they need to do to support the company and earning a profit at the same time. You know, to leverage our time, we need the right network of people. We all have an information, support, and a referral network. We need a handful of relationships in order to be successful. So many people are out there trying to develop 1,000 relationships. It's not about 1,000 relationships. It's not about, as Dr. Meisner says, doing 1,000 things a handful of times. It's about doing a handful of things 1,000 times. I ask myself, Q4 of every single year, what does my role in this company need to be throughout the next year in order to make the biggest impact? And that's where I put my time, my energy, my focus, and attention, in addition to, of course, supporting my team, okay? But I don't have much to do in terms of supporting the team because I'm just kind of tweaking their activities. All of this reminds me of a client that took Ignite Your Business back here a number of months ago. She owned a contracting firm. She was working 6 days a week. She came to us knowing that what we do is we help people make more money, save time, and have some fun in the process. She developed, like Jason said earlier, a sense of laser focus to the point that she transitioned from working 6 days a week to 4 days a week and making 3 times as much money. Because again, it's about leveraging yourself and finding people who believe in your mission in order to get out there and positively impact the world. Leveraging your time through others in an effort to generate focused intention is going to get you everything. Jason, is there anything that I shared that you've done differently in your company in order to leverage yourself and maximize your return on investment?
I want to just say that I think where most people hold back is on the fear of, if I hire somebody, they're not going to do it as good as I can do it. So I developed a rule in my head that if they can do it 80% as good as I can do it, that is good enough to hire them and get them started on the role. The customer isn't going to know the difference if it's 20% less than your absolute best. But now that you have recaptured 100% of your own time, you have enough time to work with this person to sharpen them up a little bit and make them 20% better. You can review the work that they did before it gets submitted to the client to make sure it's up to your level, up to your standard. Doesn't mean that you have to do it all yourself from scratch. You know, if it's the crew in the field, can I show up at the beginning of the day, give them some clear instruction, and then show up at the end of the day to follow up their work and make sure that they did what, I asked them to do? Do I have to be there for 8 hours during that day, or can I be applying my time in a better way to develop the next process or system? But everything you do has to be documented, as Tom said, if you ever want to replicate it, so that as you do grow, whether it's salesperson A, B, or C, they're going to write up the contract and the budget exactly the same way you would have done it if you were there doing it personally. And then as it follows through to the managers, project manager A, B, or C, they're going to manage it off that same report exactly the same way. And you have to take what you're doing now and make it replicable, and then hire, train, hire fast, get somebody started, try it out. If it doesn't work, fire fast, start over again, redevelop the system. But you got to take shots at it. If you ever want to grow, you got to start implementing these. And as long as you're bogged down, I was that person doing the 6 days a week. And now I work 3.5 days a week and I run 5 corporations. And it can be done if you delegate and follow up and you have a system for it. And then you go divide your time amongst helping each of those department heads. You mentioned the different departments. So I'm going to spend a little time with my production team and teaching them how I would manage if I had to do the job still. Spend a little time with the sales team. How would I notate the contract to make it more clear for the guy that's going to follow it up? You take your time and apply it, but you got to start by unloading your schedule of all those things that are costing you money. If you're putting faxes through the fax machine, you're costing yourself money. Stop doing it.
I love it. I love it. Back to you, Tiffanie. Hopefully that was helpful for everybody.